Hello students, welcome to your lesson on how to make your weathering and erosion foldable. So I'm going to go through a PowerPoint that you'll have access to create your own, and then I'll show you the one that I made. But it doesn't have to look just like mine, as long as it has the facts, the difference between chemical and physical weathering. I am happy. So first let's go ahead and talk quickly like we did in class about what weathering is versus erosion. So we have weathering and erosion. Weathering, this is a great example. Back in ancient Egypt, they carved these beautiful hieroglyphics into stone. Typically it was granite. That was way back in 1450 BC. Those have survived since, but they don't quite look the same. So one of those came over to New York in 1800, and now you can hardly even see the hieroglyphics. That is due to weathering, and that's mainly physical, but also a little bit of chemical as well with acid rain. But quickly, the difference between weathering versus erosion. And erosion is, I had to fix my spelling error. Erosion is simply the movement of soil or rocks or sand from one place to another, caused by lots of different things, but mainly water is what we're talking about here. So it's movement of mud down a hillside, movement of sand down a beach. Weathering is kind of going to be our focus, and that's really simply just the chemical or physical breakdown of rock material. And often it is slow, and it takes a lot of time. You can see that picture of the Grand Canyon. It was formed by physical weathering. There are two kinds that we're going to learn about. You've got physical or mechanical weathering, and that is simply the breaking down physically of rock. There is nothing chemical about it. There is no acid that's involved. It just slowly is eating away. Sometimes, and you can see in that picture, freezing water actually is a big physical weathering agent, because when water freezes, it expands and it will crack rock, it will make potholes in the road, etc. So that is physical weathering. It is a simple physical breakdown. It's also called mechanical weathering. If you go down to the river, which I'm hoping you can, sometime soon, you'll see those beautiful rock pools that form in the middle of a rock, an indentation. That is caused this perfect circle just by water slowly breaking it down over time. And then you have chemical weathering, which is when you actually have a chemical agent that acts on a rock and breaks it down. It might be a really beautiful statue that gets slowly eaten away, and typically it's when there's a little bit of acid in the rain. It can also cause something called oxidation, which is when maybe something that's really pretty copper color, like the Statue of Liberty, like a penny, slowly turns that greenish color. That's chemical weathering. So it's when it's actually chemically changed. So I'm not going to go through all of these slides. You can go through them, and I will put a link up in the Google Classroom. I just want to show you how I made my foldable. I am not very creative, so I simply made a foldable like this, that I folded a piece of paper down and made a little 2-flip book. So step one, you take your paper and you fold it so there is a little bit left at the bottom, and that's where I'm going to put my title. For my title, I just put weathering and erosion. And then you can just take your scissors and cut a flap right up the middle. I made mine a little crooked just for a little bit of flair. So that way when you open up, we're going to compare chemical and physical here. So inside, you're going to have the definitions and everything you need. So I am going to put up a picture of this so you can see it as well. But you can see I have at the bottom, weathering and erosion. That is my title. Each flap are the two different kinds of weathering, chemical and physical or mechanical. That's called both. When you open the flap, the sun is kind of blocking this. Sorry, I wanted to be outside. I defined at the bottom erosion versus weathering. And again, that will be in the picture. It is also in this PowerPoint. And then at the top flaps are when I describe the difference between chemical and physical. And I did write some examples. So you can find the picture that you can copy right off in your Google Classroom, Or you can go through the PowerPoint and write your own. You can write your own examples. You can make the foldable more creative if you want than just a 2-flap foldable. But this will eventually go and get glued in your interactive science notebook. So make sure you get that down, take a picture of it, and attach it to this assignment like we've been learning how to do. You can attach it as a Google Doc, remember, and I will see that attached to the assignment. That is the best way to share it with me. Otherwise, you can just show this to me tomorrow. Okay. Well, happy Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing these tomorrow.